Got my coffee, got the script outline, and I think we're ready to go. Hey everyone, I'm Sam Hamar. This is Growing Older Gay's Gay Kitchen Table Talk, episode 46 for the 15th of February 2026. Gay Kitchen Table Talk is our weekly check-in where I sit down and tell you what's going on at my kitchen table as well as the kitchen table of the LGBTQ fishbowl that I find myself in. And boy, is it a fishbowl. We always like to start with our daily meme, which is typically what you're going to find on our social media, which is Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. We do not do the X. There you will find our daily inspirations, spam for our upcoming content, and pictures of just this and that and things that I find myself experiencing out in that fishbowl that I was talking about. And today's daily meme is pretty simple. It simply says this: find your joy no matter what. We are living in some chaotic times. And if you look at the news, if you scroll, doom scroll, if you're at all in tune with what's going on out there in the world right now relative to our community and our country, it's a scary time. It's a disappointing time. It can be a depressing time. It can be an angering time. But we have to live our daily life. Life is for the living. We have to enable ourselves to continue to be happy. We can fight. We can protest, we can do all of the things, the work, we can be angry about what needs to be angry about, we can be sad about what needs to be sad about. We need to go to bed at the end of the night, our head on the pillow, having had some joy in our day. And we have to make that happen for ourselves in this environment. So right out of the gate, you need to find ways to rise above the news and the media and all of the noise out there. Turn it off, change the channel. Get out and do things with your friends, your family, your chosen family. Find something to have in your day that gives you joy. Take walks, go to the park, go to events, go to a movie. Some people actually have a difficult time with the idea of finding joy. They would tell you they don't know how to do it. And it is quite simple. First of all, you've got to open your mind and allow yourself joy. And that means to not say no to every opportunity that comes along. Change your channel. Go out and be with people that you don't normally hang out with. Go to a new place. Go to a movie. Join a club. Start a new hobby. Find a pastime. Find a purpose that keeps you busy and into things to where you don't have a lot of energy to devote to being depressed, not joyful. That's basically what I've had to do for myself. I've had to busy myself with a lot of purpose, a lot of things that keep me busy, be it gigs, be it hobby, all of that. You know, one would say it's not healthy to overdo it, but in an environment that we're in, sometimes you have to find little ways to put joy in your day, not only for our personal health, mental, spiritual, and physical, but also for the people around us. It's no fun for those who live with us and around us if we are always in that negative space. So find your joy no matter what. For you, for me, for all of us. So with that, let's check in. This is Valentine's Day weekend, and it is my birthday weekend. My belly button birthday falls on Valentine's Day. It always makes for an interesting conversation point. Oh, you're a Valentine's baby. When I was a kid, when I was growing up, it made it very difficult for people to find cards that were both a Valentine and a birthday card. They do exist. As an adult, when people want to say, hey, let's go out to dinner, let's do something for your birthday, it becomes more difficult to try to do it on Valentine's Day. Try going out to a nice restaurant for dinner on Valentine's Day. Very difficult. Usually when it's actually going to be some kind of a get-together or a celebration of my birthday going out, it's done on a different day. Now this weekend, there's no time for that. This is a weekend that is filled with things like I just talked about with our meme, keep yourself busy, involve yourself in this and that. Gays have gigs. We've always got these little things that we either make extra money at, that we chase after. We have hobbies, we have pastimes. It's a full weekend for both my husband and I. I have tonight HIV testing with my local organization. That's what we do. Then I'm working the gay rodeo. The Arizona Gay Rodeo Association has their annual rodeo this weekend, and I'm going to be out there at the event involved in doing some gig work out there. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun, but there's going to be no time for a birthday celebration. And then also one of the days this weekend, because of my other gig, which is Test Driven TV, I'm an automotive journalist. That's that little silver plaque back there. I have a car that I'm reviewing this week that I have to go out and do a complete video shoot on. So that takes a whole day usually. And that's one of my weekend days. So yeah, the whole birthday weekend is full. And I would invite you to go over to Test Driven TV a little bit later this week. The review on a 2026 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid will be up. Just picked it up a couple days ago. Very nice car. So that's my check-in for this week. Birthday weekend, but I am a busy MF. Now we're going to talk a little bit about pop culture. We talked about this last week, the Benito Bowl. We had a full conversation about what might happen and how Bad Bunny was essentially put his thumb in the nose of the MAGA crowd who didn't really like the idea of a brown boy playing at the Super Bowl halftime show. Well, guess what? He did all of that, and the show was one of the most beautiful things I think I have ever seen in the way of an entertainment show event. It was absolutely beautiful. It gave me joy. It touched my heart. And as a person in the LGBTQ community, there was stuff there for me, as there were for many of us. There were people representing us. If you were able to understand or translate the actual message in a lot of the music, there was a lot of protest in that show. Good stuff. He not only put it in front of them visually, but he did it in a way, speaking Spanish, singing Spanish, that they didn't catch it right away. They had to go dig in to find out that they were getting a big middle finger in their face. We had Ricky Martin, Lady Gaga, a couple of other well-known celebrities doing sort of Easter egg cameos. Pedro Pascal, oof, he was there dancing around. It was just a beautiful show. We had one of our friends over, so we had, a bunch of gay guys sitting in front of the TV eating snacks, watching the Super Bowls, just so we could get to the halftime show. What was actually funny this year is we watched it on Telemundo. So all of the coverage was entirely in Spanish, and many of the commercials, same commercials that you might have seen watching English TV, were also in Spanish. It was a lot of fun. It was something different, and my husband, he is actually from Mexico, so it was something that sort of enhanced his experience because he wasn't that interested in the Super Bowl. But to be able to see the commercials and hear them in Spanish, it was just a nice touch. The fact that we had Bad Bunny in that entire show, which represented a different universe to the MAGA crowd, who is typically the core of the football fandom, and watching their responses after all of this, a lot of them just didn't get it. They're like, why? What's this? How come it was in Spanish? I didn't get it. It was stupid. It was dumb. And of course, there was the halftime show alternative put on by Turning Point USA with the old guy, the shriveled old prune. Even the president skipped that and watched the Bad Bunny halftime show. We know because he posted an angry screed about it like he does about everything. So I'm going to be done with this topic, but kudos to Bad Bunny, Ricky Martin, and Lady Gaga, and everyone involved with that. Thank you so much. I want to talk about health just a little bit. Every once in a while, I work in the pharmaceutical industry. Something new comes along, and starting this year, I've seen a new drug coming across the computer screens, and that is a Wegovy tablet. Now, Wegovy is one of the many GLP-1s that has traditionally been an injectable for weight loss and also some level of control for other conditions. Wegovy, part of that whole family of glutides, which includes Zepbound, Ozempic, and so on. They're great for a lot of people. A lot of people I know in the LGBTQ plus community are using these products, and they are expensive if you have to pay for them out of pocket. Insurance does cover them in some instances, but most of the time the doctors have to tie them to some other condition to get it to work. It doesn't always work. And going into this year, a lot of insurance companies have actually sort of pulled back on what they're allowing for that. So there's a lot of people out there who have lost their coverage for the GLP-1s. They're just getting harder to have insurance do that. Wegovy comes along with a tablet which does two things. First of all, it can be a direct replacement for the injectable. There's different doses from 1.5 milligrams all the way up to 25 milligrams. And just like the injectable, they would typically start you out on a lower dose and step you up to a higher dose wherever you need to be. So they have dosages on the pill that match up to the dosages on the injectable. So if you're using the Wegovy injectable right now, and maybe you're just tired of that pen needle, you can switch over to the tablet. It is just as effective according to the data that's out there. It's actually somewhat affordable, $149 a month on some of the discount programs out there if you have to pay out of pocket. That's still a lot of money, but if you compare that to what one spends out of pocket for the injectables, it might be a good option for a lot of people. You take the pill every day, whereas the injection tends to be a once weekly thing. And there are a couple of restrictions. You have to take it first thing in the morning, 30 minutes before you eat anything or take any other medication. So you have to be very regimented about when you take it. It's very much like a levothyroxine or thyroid medication that people take if they have hypothyroidism. You have to take it first thing in the morning and sort of plan how you're going to do your mornings. You have to wait before you start having food or taking your other meds. So there is that. You can't just stick it in you anytime you want on a day like the injectable. It is available right now, started right around the first of the year. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, check it out with your doctor. Have a conversation with your doctor. I'm not one. I'm not giving medical advice. I'm also not on the dole with any pharmaceutical company. I'm just talking about this because I have a lot of friends that are using the injectables. And I myself have looked at these products and thought, I just couldn't deal with the needle. I'm a pansy when it comes to the needles. And that's why I was never an IV drug user back in the days when I was a druggie, because I just couldn't deal with the needles. So yeah, Wegovy tablets. On this, we are going to step off and take a quick break for a commercial, if one exists. And so we'll be right back. All right, we're back. That was quick, wasn't it? Or maybe it wasn't. It's hard to say what the future will bring. It's leather season, and a lot of big leather events going on around the country leading up to International Mr. Leather on Memorial Day weekend. And this week's big contest was the RGV Leather Weekend in McAllen, Texas, put on by the Rio Grande Bears. These guys down in the Rio Grande Valley, I've met many of them now. They are one of the most cohesive leather and bear groups I have ever seen around the country. This weekend, they awarded the Mr. RGV Leather, which went to Alejandro. Beautiful young man. Oh, look at him. He won the title, and he will now have the opportunity to go on and compete for International Mr. Leather. So congratulations, Alejandro. Great job, and good luck with your title in the coming year. Beautiful thing. And since we're on the topic of bears and leather, our event that I'm going to be highlighting this week is Lazy Bear Week, which is July 27th through August 3rd, 2026, Guerneville, California. Their website, lazybearweek.org. This is a big event, very much like Bear Week in P-Town. We talked about that last week. This is really sort of the sister event to that on the West Coast. And it's right in the middle of the summer, so it's nice and warm. They are celebrating 30 years of Lazy Bear magic at this event. Over 2,500 bears come to the tiny town of Guerneville. And Guerneville is just sort of this nice little town nestled in the hills next to the river up above San Francisco. This event is a week-long supply of playtime, parties, events, and touristy goodness. I could not possibly outline all of the things that are involved. But here's what I can tell you that I know for a fact. The 2026 tags are now available. You want to get in early, go to their website, lazybearweek.org, get that taken care of. And more importantly, you want to get your lodging lined up because Guerneville is a small town. 2,500 bears descend upon this town. Well, you know how that goes. You don't want to be left living in your car, although you would probably find somebody to invite you in someplace. Probably a bear. And our event save the date this week is Palm Springs Leather, October 29th through November 1st. You can go to their website, pslod.org. Valhalla is their theme this year. You can see their poster on the screen right there if you're watching us on YouTube. They're still loving the AI artwork. I chastised them last year on our podcast about that, and they haven't listened. What's up? It just hurts my feelings. It hurts my heart when I see organizations using AI for their marketing and graphic art. Yeah, it looks good. Yeah, it's fantasy. But darn, there are some real human being artists out there that could use the work. They could use the exposure. I'm getting on a soapbox. Nonetheless, you can go to their website because there is not a lot of information yet, but they will be selling tickets to that event pretty soon. I have gone to the event before. It's a great event, and I hope to go again this year. Worth checking out, worth planning for. And as always, you can click on the events tab on our website, growingoldergay.com, for all of the LGBTQ gatherings nationwide all year long. We also have some international events there, like Folsom Europe, and so on. If you have an event that you'd like to see featured, you can click on the contact tab on our website or simply drop me an email, sam@growingoldergay.com. That's my name, Sam. Our website, growingoldergay.com, all together with an @ symbol in the middle, sam@growingoldergay.com. Now it's time for viewer comments, and I love viewer comments. So I encourage all of you, if you're listening to us on a podcast or if you're watching us on YouTube and you think of something, you have a response, you have a question, please comment. And comments that I read here are going to be coming from two places. They're going to be coming from our YouTube channel, which is the #1 place I look, and also email, sam@growingoldergay.com. You might have heard that before. I encourage you to comment and to ask questions when you hear our show because it helps us have more content, quite frankly. And so this week's comment comes from a person who saw our episode 2 weeks ago on YouTube, where I sort of got on a soapbox about transphobia in the LGBTQ plus community. A lot of people out there still sort of stuck in old-fashioned ways and not helping us out that much with their views and their attitudes towards the transgender community. And this person seemed like they just wanted to clarify, but they said FTMs should also be included, right? And that was a question from them. And my answer to that is, of course. When I say transgender, I mean everyone. I don't mean just men to women or women to men or on a non-binary spectrum. Everyone. Because we're all falling into that queer kaleidoscope. We should all be on the same boat together, fighting for the same things together, the same equality, the same joy, the same rights, the same respect, and on down the list. I'm not sure if this person's context was in terms of the community at large or maybe certain types of venues. What I will share is that there are a lot of venues out there, a lot of events, a lot of clubs, places like bathhouses or even campgrounds. That was in the news last year with the gay campgrounds group, where they've been very rigid about who they invite or who they say is able to attend their events or come to their venues. And I have seen that softening in the past couple of years, where you might have seen men only. What you're seeing now are things like masculine identifying persons or people identifying as men. And so what they're saying is if you identify as this category of people, you're welcome regardless of how you were born. And so that's a change. Is it all the way there yet? No. Are there places that are still quite rigid? Yes. As I mentioned, Gay Camping, a group online, made quite a big wave last year when they put out the news that they were going to take all of the campgrounds, the gay campgrounds around the country that did not allow trans people off of their database, off of their list. They were not going to allow them to be promoted. And that changed a lot of campgrounds, not all of them, but quite a few of them, and for the better. FTMs should be included. Absolutely. Absolutely. So thank you for your comment on that. And I hope I answered your question. And that is it for our show today. I want to thank gayphx.com, which is our local gay streaming radio station, mostly about the Phoenix area, but they stream our show 5 days a week. New episodes every Monday at 10 a.m. And then for the rest of the week on Tuesday through Friday, we have the best of shows. That's just wonderful exposure that they're giving us. It's a great station, even if you don't live in Phoenix, because there's a lot of news, there's a lot of information, great music. It's all music that's put together by LGBTQ plus artists. And of course, you can go to our website, growingoldergay.com, to see everything we do. There's a lot of content beyond our podcast. Follow us on social media, that is Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and Blue Sky. We don't do the X because yuck. Our podcast can be found on Amazon, iHeart, Spotify, Substack, and Apple Podcasts. And of course, you can watch us on YouTube. And if you are watching us on YouTube, you can see what I'm wearing. And today I'm wearing my Mr. S leather neoprene vest. This is a nice soft zip up. It is flexible, which is good because I've put on a couple extra pounds here in the last year or so. But this is a black with blue pinstriping and blue highlighting. And that's pretty much all I'm wearing today. You can't see below the desk, so I'm not going to go there. But I encourage you to see us on YouTube because not only do you get to see me and what I'm wearing, my new do, but you can also see the graphics and some of the different things we put together to go along with what I'm talking about. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. And if you are watching this on YouTube, you can see right to my left, your right, is our latest episode. And you can also click on the big round logo below that and you can subscribe. Please subscribe wherever you listen or you watch. Either way, stay tuned.